Hey guys, it's Dorna Dape here with week 12 therapeutic exercises, parameters, and techniques. So we're just going to dive right into it, and we're going to start with question 1. Describe the methods used to measure range of motion in a joint. So some of these methods can be a passive range of motion. So this is a movement applied to a joint solely by another person or machine. So the joint is relaxed while an external force acts on that specific body part. The second one would be active range of motion. So this is the individual solely applying force to the affected area or to the specific joint. So me moving my own rotator cuff. The third one would be active assistant range of motion. So the joint receives partial assistance from an outside force. This could be a band, for example, helping you stretch your hip flexors. So for number 2, list 5 stretching techniques that can be used to increase range of motion. So we're just gonna go ahead and start with number 1. So that would be ankle mobility. So the ankle mobility stretch allows you to put your foot flat on a surface and lean forward into your ankle. So this is gonna help with ankle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Another one would be hip openers. So this one you would lay on the floor to open up your hips, or you would put your foot on top of your thigh and you would stretch it. So this would help with your glutes, hip flexors, hip extensors, abductors, and adductors. Another one would be the shoulder pass-through. So this one is going to help with your rotator cuff, and it's going to help stretch your deltoid and your chest. The fifth one would be neck half circles. So this, of course, neck half circles, we all know that. So this is going to go ahead and help your neck flexors, your extensors, and your traps. So for number 3, describe 2 types of muscle activity and the principles of strengthening. So 2 types of muscle activity would be weight training and resistance training. So both of these, they both fall into the same principles of muscle endurance. So that's the ability of a muscle to keep on exerting force over against a resistance. And another principle to remember about these, most importantly, is its form over everything. Because there's no point in doing either one of these training methods if your form is not going to be there, and therefore you're not going to reach your optimal goals. So for number 4, describe polymetrics and the 3 phases involved. So polymetrics, these are quick, powerful movements. So with phase 1, you have your eccentric component. So this is where the muscle is pre-stretched and it's going to store potential energy in the muscles. So phase 2 is the amortization component. So the muscle is going to transition from overcoming the acceleration of gravity and loading the energy into releasing it. So this is where you're in the pre-jump phase. When you're about to jump for the ball, all that energy is stored there. So phase 3, concentric component. So this is going to be unloading the energy, and that's going to add tension in the generated concentric muscle contraction. So this is where your athlete is actually going to release their stored energy. So this is where your athlete is going to jump and reach for the ball, or this is where your athlete is going to throw the ball. So number 5, identify the 4 goals for functional and sport-specific exercise. So number 1 is going to be specificity. So that one's going to be choose your target on what you want to work on. Number 2 is going to be individualization. So everyone is different. So you need to make sure that what you are working on is going to be to your benefit. And just remember that everybody else's progress is different than yours. So don't worry if somebody else gets ahead of themselves. It's all about you and what goals that you are setting for yourself. So for number 3, progression. So this is the need to gradually increase the workload that you put into your body, because there's going to be a point when you can possibly plateau. So therefore you're going to need to go up in your weight, your repetitions, or you're going to need to extend the time period in which you are running, walking, or jogging. So number 4, overload. So this one is important. You need to be careful not to overtrain your body, and you need to make sure that you get adequate rest for your optimal results.